Africa is rising, and we will no longer bow to foreign control. Our future belongs to our people, and we will fight for it with pride.
Imagine a majestic hall in New York City, filled with the world's most influential leaders, presidents, prime ministers, and diplomats from every region of the planet. The atmosphere is charged with expectation. It's a historic day, commemorating 80 years since the United Nations emerged from the ruins of World War II. The UN General Assembly has convened to honor this milestone. But what unfolds next is far beyond a mere celebration. It's a moment that reverberates across the globe. UN Secretary-General António Guterres steps to the podium and delivers a speech that redefines history. His words are daring, uncompromising, and transformative, particularly for Africa. This is not just a speech. It's a summons to action, a cry for justice, and a resounding endorsement of a new era for a continent poised to soar. Let's explore this unforgettable moment, uncover its significance, and understand why it marks a pivotal shift for Africa and the world. 8 decades ago, the world lay in tatters. World War II had shattered nations, leaving millions dead, and cities in ruins. In 1945, from this devastation, a spark of hope was kindled: the United Nations. The UN was founded with a singular, powerful mission: to prevent another global war, unite nations, and forge a brighter future for all. At its core is the UN Charter, a document that pledges peace, justice, and collaboration. It's more than a set of guidelines. It's a proclamation that humanity can achieve greatness when united. The UN is not merely a building or a group of envoys. It's a forum where adversaries can negotiate, a platform where smaller nations, often overlooked, have a voice equal to the mightiest. It's a stage where the aspirations and struggles of people worldwide are voiced. For 80 years, the UN has been a beacon of hope, providing aid to those in need, safeguarding human rights, and advancing sustainable progress. It has saved countless lives, transformed fates, and offered hope to millions. Yet the UN's work remains unfinished. On this 80th anniversary, António Guterres reminds us that the world still confronts immense challenges. His speech serves as a wake-up call, pressing us to recommit to the UN's vision. In a moment that stuns the world, he takes a courageous stand for Africa, offering a powerful nod to a revolutionary leader who is reshaping the narrative. The UN General Assembly Hall is brimming with leaders from the United States, Europe, Africa, Asia, and beyond, seated and anticipating the usual diplomatic rhetoric: courteous, predictable, and cautious. But when António Guterres takes the stage, the mood shifts. His voice is firm, his message clear, and his words fearless. This is no routine address. It's a thunderous demand for change, a challenge to the established order, and a defining moment for Africa. Guterres doesn't merely recount the UN's past achievements. He confronts the crises facing the world today: war, poverty, climate change, and the decline of human rights. He speaks with urgency, warning that the UN Charter's principles are under unprecedented threat. What makes this speech historic is his emphasis on Africa. In a moment that sends ripples through the room, he openly endorses Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the revolutionary leader of Burkina Faso. This isn't a fleeting reference. It's a bold affirmation of a new wave of African leaders fighting for their continent's freedom and dignity. Let's focus on the man at the heart of this moment, Captain Ibrahim Traoré. He's the young, resolute leader of Burkina Faso, a small West African nation that has endured years of hardship. Like many African countries, Burkina Faso has grappled with poverty, conflict, and the enduring scars of colonialism. Traoré, a military officer turned president, embodies a new Africa, one that refuses to yield to foreign influence. Rising to power in 2022, he vowed to prioritize Burkina Faso's interests. He's not just fighting for his nation, but for a vision of an Africa that is independent, self-reliant, and proud. He seeks to ensure his country's resources, gold, its land, its people benefit Africans, not foreign entities or governments. For years, leaders like Traoré were sidelined by powerful nations, labeled as radicals or threats to democracy. But Traoré is distinct, calm, determined, and unwavering. His message is gaining traction across Africa. At the UN, Traoré sits among African diplomats, his presence radiating authority. When Guterres utters his name, the room falls silent. This is a moment of affirmation, not just for Traoré, but for every African striving for their continent's future. Why is this moment so revolutionary? Because Guterres doesn't merely mention Traoré, he makes a profound statement. Africa deserves respect. Leaders like Captain Ibrahim Traoré represent a new era of self-determination, and the UN must support their right to shape independent futures free from foreign control. These words strike like lightning. Diplomats from Western nations, accustomed to steering the global agenda, are taken aback. African leaders, including Traoré, nod in quiet pride. This is a turning point. For centuries, Africa has been exploited. During the colonial era, European powers plundered its resources and drew arbitrary borders. Even after independence, many African nations remained ensnared in economic systems favoring the West. Foreign corporations controlled their mines, oil, and wealth. Leaders who resisted were often silenced, sanctioned, or worse. But Guterres' speech rewrites the narrative. By standing with Traoré, he legitimizes Africa's fight for sovereignty, calling out the colonial economic structures that have held the continent back. He demands that the world respect African nations as equals. This isn't just about Burkina Faso. It's about every African nation ready to seize its destiny. To grasp the weight of this moment, we must revisit the UN Charter, signed in 1945. This document is the cornerstone of the United Nations, promising that all nations, regardless of size or power, have a voice. It commits to peace, justice, human rights, and cooperation, a blueprint for addressing the world's greatest challenges, from war to poverty to inequality. The Charter isn't mere words. It's a catalyst for change. Over the past 80 years, the UN has used it to resolve conflicts, deliver aid to millions, and promote equality. It has helped rebuild nations, protected refugees, and championed the rights of women, children, and marginalized groups. It's why the UN exists, to be a force for good in a fractured world. Yet, Guterres warns that the Charter is under siege. Some nations adhere to it when convenient and disregard it when it suits them, using force, violating laws, and targeting civilians. This cannot continue. The Charter isn't optional. It's the foundation of a just world. Guterres' speech is a call to recommit to its principles through action, not just words. Guterres doesn't shy away from the world's challenges. He paints a vivid picture of a planet at a crossroads. Wars rage on, from Ukraine to the Middle East to parts of Africa. Humanitarian crises are escalating, with millions displaced by conflict, hunger, and disasters. Human rights are under assault, with some governments suppressing freedom and equality. New challenges loom. Climate change brings record heat, floods, and storms, threatening lives and livelihoods. Inequality is growing, leaving the poorest behind while the wealthiest prosper. Technology, like artificial intelligence, offers promise but also peril if mismanaged. Some nations are stockpiling weapons, even as others strive for peace. Worst of all, Guterres says, is the recurring pattern of disregarding the UN Charter. Some countries use force against sovereign nations, violate international laws, and weaponize food and water, targeting civilians and infrastructure. This must end. The Charter is a commitment we must all uphold. One of the most compelling parts of Guterres' speech is his focus on Africa's sovereignty crisis. For centuries, Africa has been exploited during colonialism. European powers extracted its gold, diamonds, oil, and more, leaving its people impoverished. Even after independence, many African nations remain bound to economic systems benefiting foreign powers. Trade deals, loans, and corporate control kept Africa's wealth flowing outward. Leaders who challenged this were often branded as threats, facing sanctions, coups, or worse. But today, a new generation is emerging. Leaders like Captain Ibrahim Traoré are demanding that Africa's resources serve its people first, fighting for self-determination and freedom from foreign interference. Guterres doesn't just acknowledge this struggle, he champions it. He calls for the UN to support African nations in their quest for independence, urging respect for their sovereignty and praising their resilience. This is a historic shift. The UN's top official is standing with Africa's revolutionaries, validating their cause on the global stage. The response to Guterres' speech is immediate and powerful, especially in Africa. Across the continent, people are rejoicing. Social media platforms like X are alive with pride. Videos of Traoré at the UN, sitting composed as Guterres speaks, are going viral. Hashtags like #AfricaRising, #SovereigntyNow, and #TRAOREacute are trending from Dakar to Nairobi, from Bamako to Ouagadougou. Young Africans are sharing their enthusiasm, posting, "This is our moment. Africa will no longer bow." Tweets praise Traoré's resolve and the UN's courage. Ordinary citizens, activists, and leaders are united in a sense of opportunity. This isn't just about one leader or one nation. It's about a continent stepping into its strength. Western media, however, is noticeably reserved. Outlets that typically shape global narratives seem reluctant to cover this moment. But in Africa, the story is unstoppable. From markets to universities, people are discussing what this means for their future. It's a moment of pride, hope, and a declaration that Africa is ready to lead. Guterres' speech comes at a critical juncture. Just weeks earlier, world leaders adopted the Pact for the Future, a commitment to strengthen the UN's mission. This agreement reaffirms the UN Charter's importance and sets ambitious goals for the 21st century, tackling climate change, poverty, inequality, and technology together. The pact is more than a document. It's a vision for a world that works for all, involving not just governments, but youth, civil society, and businesses. It's about adapting to a connected, digital, and multipolar world. Guterres sees this as an opportunity to build a stronger, fairer UN, one that meets the needs of today and tomorrow. For Africa, the pact is a symbol of hope, promising a world where every nation's voice is heard and cooperation replaces exploitation. Guterres' support for Traoré and African sovereignty signals that the UN is ready to fulfill this promise. This moment transcends one speech or one leader. It's about a continent reclaiming its destiny. For too long, Africa's story has been told by others: colonial powers, foreign media, outside interests. Now, Africans are crafting their own narrative, one of strength, resilience, and pride. Captain Ibrahim Traoré is a powerful symbol of this story, showing what's possible when Africans stand up for themselves. From Senegal to Kenya, from Ghana to Ethiopia, leaders and citizens are demanding change, seeking control over their